What's up, YouTube? Today I'm out here with the Saturn Sky, and I just wanted to make a little video with the 10 things I most dislike about the car. I have now owned this for over a year, so I have gotten it to know really well, know all the ins and outs of it, so I will tell y'all what I think the 10 worst things, in my personal opinion, are about the car. Let's get started. So, the number one is a problem I had recently where I went over a speed bump, and the speed bump was pretty big. I came down, and yeah, I cracked this fender pretty good, and that's my first complaint. The fenders are fiberglass, so unfortunately they do crack. I just happened to go over a speed bump and it was just too big, and this happened. So on to the second thing. The second thing that I do not like is the aftermarket for it isn't very good. Now, for other cars, like let's say a Corvette, a 350Z, Miata, other small cars you can get as a convertible, there are a lot of parts for it. This, not so much in terms of aftermarket. I did get these wheels, but these are not off the shelf. I had to get these custom made. They don't really make more than one or two front lips. They only make like one style of side skirts and like two different diffusers. Really not much for options around here. So it's a good car. If you want to modify it, there's not that much in terms of options, but that's what just happens when there is not that many cars and not a lot of people are modifying these cars. So the next thing is the gas tank is pretty small. It's only about a 13-gallon fuel tank, and when you're used to cars with bigger gas tanks, you will have to fill up more frequently, which isn't a bad thing because you get to stop and look at it. But if you're on a long road trip, as I take my cars on long road trips, it does get a little bit annoying having to stop and fill up more often. Which brings me on to the next thing, which is the trunk space. Especially when the roof is down, which is, yeah, that is it. Not a lot. And I know some people are going to say it's a convertible, but a Miata and like a Mercedes SLK do give you more room when you have the top down. That's just the way this car was engineered when the top goes down. But it is a bit annoying that you really cannot carry almost anything at all when the roof is down. When the roof is up, you get a little bit more space, but it's still not very much. The biggest problem is if you ever have to go to the laundromat, the plastic tubs that your laundry goes in do not fit in the trunk. So y'all, if you have to do that, y'all will have a fun time. So next I will say is the interior. Now the interior looks pretty good, but it is indeed very hard touch plastic, and it's just not very nice. It looks good, but the materials, it's not great. But again, it was a cheap car. Can't complain too much, but definitely not the best. And like this panel gap, like, can fit my finger between some of these. Not the best. So the next thing is the window switches. Now, when you're driving along and you want to put your window down, it's you would think it's here, but nope, it's back here. So you got to do the little T-Rex hand to put them up and down. Not great. You get used to it, but when you put if you were to do this kind of normally, your hand is behind the seat, kind of all the way back there. Not great. So the next thing is the radio. More specifically, the speakers. The speakers are not very good. They're not very loud. Sound quality isn't great. Now, this is the bass audio. So there was the bass and then the Monsoon. The Monsoon has an amp and a subwoofer behind the passenger side seat. This one only has 6 speakers. 1, 2, 3, and then 3 on the other side. It's not great. If you're cruising top down on the freeway, your radio will be cranked up all the way just so you can hear it, and it's not that loud. Of course, this can be easily resolved, but from the factory, the bass sound system is definitely not great. Never heard the Monsoon, can't comment about it, but the bass stereo is not great. So the next thing is, when you are driving on not very good roads, like anything around my area, the car does seem to creak and rattle a lot. Now, it's a convertible. I get it. It can't be as rigid as a coupe, but it does creak and rattle quite a bit, especially from the front end. You can hear a lot of creaks, rattles. It's not great. Now, it's a convertible. Do other convertibles have this? Yes, not the end of the world, but that is the thing, especially if you have railroad tracks that you cross when you're driving. You will definitely not enjoy going over them. So the next thing is, this is a 5-speed and manual, which is the better transmission in my opinion, but I really do wish it was a 6-speed. Now, the 5-speed is great. It holds a lot of power in case you want to throw at it, but it really would be nice to have a 6-gear, especially for cruising on the freeway. I feel like the freeway fuel economy could go even better, because definitely if you like to cruise at around 80 miles an hour, you are right at 3,000 RPMs, and you could get way better fuel economy and bring the noise way down with a 6-gear, but you're stuck with a 5-speed. Not the end of the world, but if you do a lot of freeway cruising, it's not great. Now, the last thing. That was 9. 10th one, final one. I think they should have made a coupe version. Now, the convertible looks really good. As far as convertibles go, this is one of my favorites. And I know this one is supposed to be the dislike video, but I guess I gotta talk about it. I love the way the rear trunk lid is designed with the 2 humps in the back. I think that is such a great design. But I think this car would also look so good if they had made a non-convertible coupe version of it. Probably would have bought it. More rigid, maybe less weight. They never made one, unfortunately. I think it would have been awesome, but they did not. But that is everything for this video. I've owned the Saturn now for over a year. A lot of these are small things I don't like about it, but like every car, there is things you like and that you dislike about it. No car is perfect. Those are my 10 things I dislike about it. And before you go saying, wow, it seems like you're complaining a lot. Yes, I am complaining, but I will make a top 10 things I most like about this car, which will be in the next video. So stay tuned.